nation, and a million faces formed together, made for elevation. I'm a soldier, won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard, love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath. When you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic, it's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath. When they pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic, it's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us. This is how we rise up, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic, it's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up, it's our resistance, you can't resist us.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. I am, of course, your host, as always, Joe Vollano. And if we have a part 3 of our discussion about the police survey that came out, and on top of the use of force committee, we're going to wrap that up in the first half hour. And then we are going to move on to some other interesting things that came out this week. Most importantly, I think, is the article that came out that's asking what people would like to see happen with the federal and state money that's being allocated to Meriden. So we're going to discuss that. But, of course, as always, if you want to be part of the show, feel free to call in 203-679-9610. Or if you want, you can email us, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. And, of course, you could also, we're on YouTube and Facebook. You can always join the chat group. There's always good things going on. Sorry to disappoint you, Jeff. There is no bow tie this week, and it's definitely not flashing. And, of course, it's not a pajama shirt either. Of course, as always, looking stylish. But I am Joe Vollano. I am your guiding light. And I am going to guide you through the rest of this discussion on the police survey. But again, the best time is when I talk to you guys. So always feel good to feel free to give me a call, because I want to hear from you. So a couple things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the survey. We're going to talk about the article that came out in the RJ with the federal funds. And we're going to talk about, amazingly, all of a sudden, there is a fire department survey. I wonder why that is. It's a 5-question survey, which is nowhere to be found, by the way. I can't find it anywhere. I watched their YouTube video. The comments have been shut off. I wonder why. because I think everyone sees it for what it is, and it's BS. And it is nowhere on the city's website. So we'll go over all of that also. But again, I just want to wrap up this police survey we had, and I thank the deputy mayor for coming on last week. And I also thank the minority leader who came on as a surprise right after. But there's a couple things that they kept trying to push. The deputy mayor had an agenda. He had his talking points that he had to push. And I get that. But now that he said it, we could go back and analyze it to see what is actually fact and what isn't. So I went back and watched that show about 3 or 4 times, and I started pulling the towns that he was talking about. He kept coming back to Republican towns, and he kept coming back to Old Saybrook, Simsbury, and a couple others. So I went back and looked, especially on their webpage, on the city web pages for Old Saybrook, and they do not have a CRB. They have a police commissioner, but there is no CRB, and there is not one for Simsbury either. So if the deputy mayor or any of his friends are watching, please send that over to me where he found that. I'm also waiting for his evidence that shows that the leading cause of black deaths in the city, or even in the country, because he said that was a national, is police and the justice system. So just let you know, he said he would get me that information. I have not seen it, and he has not sent it to me yet. So if he doesn't have our email, which he should, again, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. I'm waiting to see that evidence, because I know that evidence does not exist. There is not a single statistic out there that shows the leading cause of black deaths in America is by the hands of the police and the justice system. So, again, and I'm going to keep asking until I get either a response that he was inaccurate or it exists. I don't think it does. Actually, I know it doesn't. So, Deputy Mayor or any of his colleagues, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. Please send me a copy of that. I am eagerly waiting to see it. Or you could give us a call back in, 203-679-9610. But, again, I don't expect to hear anything because it's factually untrue. So, we talked about, in the first part of this series, we talked about the actual survey itself, which again is asking you to respond based on your feelings, opinions, and experiences, which again, we don't create policy and laws based on feelings and opinions. But I'll get to that in a little while. So we went over the survey in part 1. In part 2, we went a little bit deeper into why it exists. And I'm still waiting on one answer that I haven't gotten yet. And he kept pushing the narrative that we need to stop, we need to do this before something happens. And my question to him was, what incident would need to happen to spark this? Now, again, his point is, it doesn't matter the incident, but that doesn't make any sense. So if he's saying that we don't need an incident to get this going, I need to know what kind of incident would make us do this. We've had shootings in the city. We've had deaths by the hands of police in the city. And those aren't handled by a CRB. They're handled by the state and the state police and the state attorney's office. So what else would we be looking at? So then he continued on with, well, we need to look at other issues in the city. And I have all the stats here, and this is from the last 10 years. And again, the committee has these stats. The police department presented all these stats. Last year, we had 2 use of force complaints. Both of them were withdrawn because body cam footage is always going to be able to tell you the truth of what really happened. But they keep trying to push this as we have a use of force issue. That's why they have a use of force committee. We had 2 all of last year. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've had maybe 4 or 5. None of them were sustained. So again, if the facts aren't there, what else is there? If there's no facts to back up your case, then what is this really about? And this is about politics. You have crazy left-wing people in this committee and in our city council. That's what we have. Whether people want to see that or not, if you look at the makeup of this committee, it is troubling. Very troubling. You have a professor who is crazy left-wing. You could just look up her name and go look at any of the videos, any of her comments, and you'll know she's anti-police. So when he said last week, when he tried challenging me on my interpretation of anti-police, what would that be? So my interpretation of someone being anti-police would be the fact that they said that police are, 1, white terrorists, which is what one of the committee members' organization that she heads believes. And it's on their Facebook page. And they had a rally. We need to stop white terror. Stop police oppression. This is a member on this committee. This is someone who was appointed to this committee. And in a statement, the mayor who appointed all these people said that he was given a specific set of people that they wanted and that he couldn't fill those positions in the time they wanted to do it, in that short amount of time. So somebody is not correct or not giving us factual information, because Mr. Cardona said that this was not rushed. But then yet the deputy mayor is saying, though the deputy mayor is saying it wasn't rushed, but then the mayor is saying, well, it was rushed because I had no time to actually figure out who they wanted. So what I'm taking happen is the council passed this resolution and then handed them a list of the people they wanted. Because there's no diversity to it. There is not a single Republican on that committee. The only one that is on there is Mr. Williams, who is a counselor. That's it. There is no one. There is no diversity. There is just anti-police, far left-wing radicals on this. That's it. So I mean, that's what we're facing. That's what we're facing. And I think this is blowing up in their face. Because if anyone noticed today, what came out today? Today came out a video, and I'm going to play it for you because I find it interesting in the timing of when it came out. And believe it or not, the first thing I questioned was, why is this not being done to any other organization in the city? Why are we picking on the police department? And we were told, well, we're not picking on the police department, this is just to get people's input. And nobody was buying it. Nobody bought that excuse, especially after hearing the council. So miraculously today, this video hit the airwaves.
Fire chief of the Marion Fire Department. In 2013, you assisted the Meriden Fire Department in assembling a guiding document known as the Meriden Fire Department Strategic Plan. We updated that plan in 2018, assessing the completion of established goals, and we created a few new goals. As that plan is over 7 years old now, the time has come to reevaluate the department's focus from both an internal and external stakeholder perspective. This is where I need your help. A key element of our organizational philosophy is maintaining a high level of commitment to the community, as well as recognizing the importance of community satisfaction. The community-driven strategic planning process has several important parts. They include establishing the community's service program priorities, evaluating the community's expectations of the organization, identifying any concerns the community may have about the organization, and identifying aspects of the organization that the community views positively. As restrictions from COVID-19 impede gathering such a diverse group together, we have modified the approach to data collection. So we've developed a short survey to gather your input on our future. This survey, administered through SurveyMonkey, makes your participation safer and easier. You will find a link in the survey in the letter attached to this video. We know that your time is valuable. All we are asking is about 10 minutes of your time for a short 5-question survey to assist us in this major accomplishment. Your assistance with this plan will help us focus on priorities as we plan out the next 5 years. Your input is essential as we serve you. Please consider being a part of this vital plan. The survey will be open until June 30th, 2021 at midnight, so please consider participating. On behalf of the 103 members of your Meriden Fire Department, we would like to thank you for your valuable time. Please be fire safe and have a great day.
Kind of amazing to me that this comes out. Coincidence? There's no coincidences in politics, ladies and gentlemen. And no, this isn't, again, and people probably do think this is about a police show. This is so much bigger than the police department. The police department just happens to be the target. But what's happening is this is unraveling on them. This is unraveling on them. Their survey, I could guarantee, is not getting the results they thought it would. And it's going to backfire. And I think people are seeing what this is. It's a political witch hunt against the police department. So now they have to try to block themselves from that criticism. So what do? Now, anyone knows Chief Morgan. He is a Democrat lackey. He was the man put in charge as city manager when they fired Guy Scaife. He is a diehard Democrat. He will do as he told. You saw him. He was reading that thing. He was reading that word from word. Whoever wrote it and whoever put these stupid 5 questions together, which again, you can't find it. It wasn't attached to that link like he said it was. They turned the comments off. There's no link to the survey. They are trying to distract you. They are trying to throw cover to themselves for what they are doing because they're being exposed for the frauds they are. They're being exposed for the leftists they are. The radicals. That's what's happening here. And I like to think that it's a small part of what we're doing here. Because last time I checked, this is the only place that they get pushback. This is the only place. This is the only place they get pushback. And they must hate it because they're not used to it. They're not used to having facts thrown back in their face and call them out on their bullshit. That's what we do here. We're straight talk. And like we bash Republicans too when they screw up. I don't throw shade for anybody. And I think that's what scares them all to death. And it should, because the people like the song at the beginning of this song says, we are rising up. We are giving a voice to the unheard. And it's working. Look at everything that's happened over the last month and a half since this show started. They tried raising taxes. We came out here and bashed them. We sent emails. We made phone calls. Next thing you know, we have nothing. We have a zero. We have a 0% increase. Then they throw this police survey at us. And they try to say that the police are the issue. Then they throw a resolution at us saying that the police are the leading cause of black deaths in America, which is nonsense every which way you look at it. They say Meriden has a racism problem. We do not. We do not. They say we have a police brutality problem. We do not. I think we have a problem with brutality against the police. And why wouldn't people feel they can attack our police department? Because every politician is telling them that the police are the problem and not the criminals. So now they're saying that that's not working. So now they need to change the subject and they have the chief come out and say, hey, we're getting our ass kicked here. We're getting our asses kicked here. We need something. Because we're being exposed. So can you do us a favor? We're going to put together this stupid 5-question survey. And we would need you to go there and read a 2-minute. He was reading it like he was a captive and reading a hostage message. That's what it looked like. That video looked like he was being held hostage and he had to say this. That's what it looked like. But I'm sure he was so happy to read that. Do you know what I want from the fire department? Put out fires. Do you know what I want from the fire department, from the personnel? Act in a professional way. Same thing with any city employee or department. The fire department has a goal. Put out a fire, save lives. That's it. That's all I need you guys to do. I don't need you guys to do anything else. Do some fire safety stuff. That's what your fire marshal's office is for. And your public relations. Go do some, I want kids being taught about fire safety. That's all I need you guys to do. What else is there? Anyone else who wants you to do anything other than your job of teaching fire safety and putting out fires and saving lives is an idiot. Same thing with police department. I want you guys to make sure the city's safe. When something happens, I need you guys to be there. When something's happening that other people are running the other way, we need you to be running towards it. That's what I expect from the police department. And that's what they do. The report came out, and it was even more horrifying. The report came out about the incident back in April, about when the 5 officers were hurt. And it is more horrific than I even knew. The fact that the officer was literally pinned in between his car and another car, and he almost got killed. The fact that another officer had to bring his car to shield someone else because he was about to get hit by the fleeing car. But the police are the problem, right? But the police department's our issue. Not the thugs, the gang members, and the criminals in our streets. Let's attack the police department. And make this stupid use of force committee, which again, if you look at all the calls for everything, is like 0.001%. They take 40,000 calls a year, And we're talking about two incidents, both were withdrawn. But that is what our city is focused on, other than the craziness that's going out in our streets. But this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens. This is what happens when you elect left-wing radicals. This is what happens when you elect, especially now, because she's the majority leader, a social justice warrior. They don't care about facts. They care about their feelings, their opinions, and their agenda. And their agenda is against, unfortunately, the police department. So that's why it's unfortunate that we have to sit here and spend so much time on the police department. I would love to be talking about many other things. But this is where our officials have brought us. And if we don't do something about it, it's going to get worse. This is just one more step. This is just one more chapter in the book they're trying to write. And really, they're writing a fictional book, trying to pass it off as nonfiction. But we're not allowing that. We will not allow that. Because it's not the right thing to do. Our city is too important not to do something about this. And now they brought the fire department in to try to throw shade for this committee and for what they're doing. And again, while he sat there looking like a hostage, reading a hostage note, it's not. Looks like we have, you know what? We're going to hold off on that. But that's what's going on. I would love to be talking about everything other than attacks on the police department. But this committee, and again, you know, I unfortunately I had an emergency yesterday, so I had some questions, some clarification questions for the mayor, and I'll give the mayor kudos. He has reached out to me, and we've had good discussions back and forth. But I did have some clarification questions. I was going to write them last night, but unfortunately an incident happened where I could not do that. So, you know, I'll still get the clarification, I'll just add it to the comments, because this is going to be the last part of this series on the survey and the use of force. Well, next time we talk about this will be when the resolution finally comes out. Because listen, I've watched every single committee meeting. I've read every single article. I've read every single document that they put on there. So this is coming out of committee because they don't care about facts. Anything this survey says, they don't care about, because they're gonna word it and they're gonna manipulate it to fit their agenda. So if anyone thinks that nothing's happened in a survey, they're gonna use it, and they're gonna say, again, we have a problem. You know, I just find it strange that usually when a new majority leader comes into office and takes the position, usually they're right. They're trying to change the perception of the city. But this is the first time I've ever seen a majority leader try to change the perception of the city from good to bad. That's amazing to me. She is the first councilwoman, majority council, to try to change the perception from we're coming back and we're going to do good things to we have a racism problem. We have a police brutality problem in the city of Meriden. Because that's a great perception. You know, that's a great thing to be putting out there for businesses that want to move in. That's a great perception for people who are thinking about moving to the city, especially if you're a minority. If you're a minority, why would you move here? Really, if you're anybody, why would you move here after hearing things like that? You wouldn't. If I was about to move here and I heard that I was a racist because I'm white, and that's it, or the police, or if I'm a minority and I'm hearing that the police have a brutality problem, which no fact states that they are, why would I move here? I would have to be crazy. to move here. But that is the new perception of Meriden. Whether they agree with that or not, that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they've put out there. That is the new reality. That is their made-up fictional reality that we have. Now, the police department is trying to be a little proactive. And they're starting a series on Thursdays, Coffee with Cops. But the problem I have with it is that it's on a Thursday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Most people are working. So while I appreciate the effort, I don't think that's what people are looking for. I already said it. This police department, while I agree things can be tweaked and adjusted, as all things can, they need to do something big and bold right now. And I offered my suggestions last time. I want New York Strip, please. We have an opportunity right now to do something big and bold. Make sure there's lobster with that, Doug. We can go and change community policing to what it should be. Something that I've been preaching for the last 5 years every chance I get. The police department right now has the ability to do something big, bold, and productive if they have the will to do it. So that's what I call on the chief to do. I call on the chief to do that. Put together a group to do just that. And I think we can. And I think we can reach a lot of these cities and a lot of these neighborhoods that feel underrepresented. And I agree, Paul. The people that do need to watch this aren't watching it. But the only way they will watch it is if we get into their neighborhoods. And I've never had a problem getting into those neighborhoods. I have no problem doing it. If people want things to change in the city, they have to be willing to look out for one another and to go into places that they normally wouldn't. Is it uncomfortable sometimes? Yes. Is it a necessity right now? Absolutely. These people, I strongly believe, want change. Nobody wants shootings in their neighborhood. I don't know a single person, I've never met a single person, that wants shootings and crime to happen in their neighborhood. The one thing I unfortunately do see is neighborhoods who are afraid of the criminals to say or do anything. And we got to get past that. We have to come up with ways. We need to be inventive and creative in ways of doing that. And I think we can. We need to have the conversation. It starts with a conversation. Every solution starts with the conversation and the realization that there is a problem. 33 neighborhood associations is a problem. They're too small. Only 2 or 3 people show up. And there's a police officer there instead of the police chief or one of his direct underlings, which is a captain or a lieutenant. That's how you get things changed. With all due respect to the police officers, to the patrol officers who do a fantastic job, I want you out there patrolling the streets, not inside a meeting. That's what the brass is for. And if the brass doesn't want to do that, then they need to go somewhere else. If they're not willing to step into these neighborhoods and speak with the people, the brass, they need to go. Because they're not in the correct position to actually change anything. But I have given a starting point. I have seen how this plays out. I've been there before in New Haven, and it works. You know, Meriden keeps saying they want to go to, they want to do the CRB and the New Haven model. They want to do this. They want to do that. Look what New Haven's doing. But yet, when you really want to make the change and you really can do something to make a difference, you don't want to. It just doesn't make any sense. Holly does not matter. This is within the police department and the chief's purview. He can make the change. He can make recommendations to the council. This is what we want to do. And it's on him. At the end of the day, it's on the chief. Like I said, I don't give a free pass to anybody. How horrible this committee is, they have also given us an opportunity. They have given us an opportunity to make some serious change that would be productive and efficient for not only the police department, but the residents. It doesn't matter what she heads. It does not matter. If you get a reorganization of the neighborhood association and you knock it down from 32, 33 to 6, which is where it should be, then you're going to get many more people to be active within it. And you get a lieutenant or a chief or a captain to run that neighborhood, that district, and actually be directly responsible for what goes on within it. You will see amazing things happen. Mark my words. You will see people willing to show up to these meetings. No, the rate that is an unproven fact. Marijuana becomes legal, crime rates will go down. That's not true at all. Certain crimes will go down, but other ones will go up. And just look at Colorado. Colorado is a prime example of that. We have an opportunity. I don't only want to look at this as a negative. Out of every negative comes a positive if you're looking for it. And our opportunity is to make some serious change. Change that I have been asking for 5 years and plus. We need to adapt to what's going on. And the only way we do that is by looking within ourselves and saying, hey, we have a broken system. And we do have a broken system when it comes to community policing. We have a severely broken system. But it's never too late to fix it. Like I said, I don't think any neighborhood, would resist help. But it's our job to engage them, to like what Paul was saying, because they're the ones that aren't watching. We need to make sure they are the ones watching. And the only way to do that is to get into their neighborhoods and make them aware. Because I think that's the main problem in the city, is the people aren't aware. Because look at all the things that they're talking about in this committee. If you look at all the recommendations that came from other towns, Meriden's already doing them. They're just not doing them very effectively. So if we can understand we have that problem, it's a starting point for us to make change and to make positive change. But it needs all your guys' help. You need to reach out to the police chief. Reach out. He's a very pleasant man. He's very attentive. He listens. And I think he truly cares. But he has to hear from us. He has to hear from us. So give him a call. Send him an email. And you can't argue with me, Linda. It's impossible. And she is not that big of a roadblock. When enough people stand up, there are no roadblocks. I think this is this show has proven that. Every roadblock we have been told we have overcome. Like I said, whether it's from the tax increase, whether it's the tax increase, whether it's the survey, I truly believe that we have overwhelmed that survey. I think they have given that survey to so many people that do not agree with them. I think they are making a gross miscalculation on where the citizens of Meriden stand on the police department. I truly do. And it's going to be a shame that they're going to try to hide this raw data. And that's where I'm going to call on Councilman Williams to make sure he's showing us that raw data, because he has privilege to see it. We should see what the actual survey results were, because I don't think they're anything what they expected. At least I'm hoping not. And I think they're going to pay the ultimate price come November for what they're trying to do. Because even if a majority of Meriden residents do not agree with their survey and gives the police high marks, this is not anywhere close to over. Because like the deputy mayor said, we're going to throw national facts at you, and we're going to try to make them into Meriden problems. But then on certain things, we're going to say, oh no, just think of the Meriden police. And don't worry about what we said over here. That stuff doesn't matter. We'll pick and choose which facts we want you to look at. That's what they do. That's what they do. They pick and choose the facts that meet their requirements at that moment in time. And unless you call them out on it, they get away with it. They get away with it every time. But that time is ending. Because on this show, we will not let them get away with it. We are going to call them out on it every single time. And like I said, I'll go broke making sure I make sure everyone is aware. Do you know how many people have watched our last video? Over 5,400 Meriden residents have watched that video of mine and the deputy mayor's exchange and the minority leader's exchange. Over 5,400 Meriden residents have watched it. Which is why I think you're seeing that dumb survey come today from the fire department. There's no other explanation to it, because it makes absolutely no sense why they would put it out there. And then say, please take our survey, but not put the link to it anywhere on that YouTube page, the fire department, or the city websites. It's nowhere to be found. Because the people know that it's BS. We are making an impact here. We are making an impact. And it's thanks to everybody out there. Like I said, your circle of influence, you guys are doing an amazing job. I am only one person. I'm only one person expressing my opinion. But my opinion is based on fact. And I put the facts out there. Every fact, every opinion that I have put out here has been backed by fact and by stats. Which is why I think they're making such an impact. And every time they open their mouth, it sets them back. But we can't let up. We can't let up for 1 second. There is too much at stake here. My goal is to try to get this stuff, none of this passed and none of this implemented to at least November. That's my goal. I'm very honest about my goal. My goal is to string all this out until November, until we can have an election and the people can make the ultimate choice on which way they want the city to go. Because they're going to have, by the time this is all said and done in November, the people are going to have a very distinct choice which side they want to be on. Do you want to be anti-police and defund the police and micromanage the police? Or do you want to be for the police? Do you want them to go out there, do their job, let them do their job the best way they can, the safest way they can? I am guaranteeing more people are going to be on the pro-police side than the anti-police side. I need a straight talk billboard in Meriden. That'd be interesting. We have an opportunity here. That's all I say. I keep saying it all the time. Making sure you're spreading the message within your circle of influence and making sure they're spreading it. We don't go to 5,400 views in less than 1 week. That's only 4 days. 5,400 views. That's due to all you guys. That's not due to me. That's due to everybody here doing what they need to do to help make the city better. We have to live here. I'm not moving. There is no way in hell that someone's going to push me out. You're not going to come in and tell me that I have a problem, that I am the problem in the city, without giving me a fact to prove that. Why? Because I sit here and disagree with you, I'm a problem? Good. Good. I've never been afraid of that position. I've had people try to attack me personally. I've had people try to attack my business. Bring it. I don't worry about any of that. Don't worry about any of that. Because I know I stand on solid ground. I know I could sit here with all you and the people and all you out there, every 5,400 that watched that video, that I hope watch this one. I know I could sit here on solid ground knowing that everything I say is based on fact while they're standing in quicksand. They're standing in quicksand. And every time they open their mouth, they sink deeper and deeper in. And eventually, they're going to disappear. That's my goal, is to make sure I make them open their mouth as much as possible so that people can see the frauds of the fraud of what they are, until the point where they sink in that quicksand, and I give them the final push of my foot on their head as I push them under. Because that's the only thing you could do with these people, is get them out. They are a cancer to the city. They are. They are a cancer that needs to be cut out and thrown away. Which brings me right into the next section of our program. And that is an article that came out asking the public, what would you like to see happen with the state and federal money that's going to be allocated to the city of Meriden? Now, if you read the article, you would think that the city has all these plans. Well, you would think that the economic director has all these plans of what he wants to do with the money, if allowed. And that's not the case. So I spoke to the Meriden economic director to ask for clarification. One, he can't spend the money without city council approval. That's first of all. But two, nobody knows what they could do with the money yet. But if you read the article, you would think that he wanted to give money to developers to offset costs. And that's not what he wants to do. Now, what does want to happen is the man who created this whole problem, the one man that has created most of these problems within the city, Councilman Mike Rohde. He is one of the main causes of everything that's happened downtown. He has made a mess of everything he has touched. But he is as proud as can be. And he wants to take that money that's coming and just waste it downtown again. Money is not always the answer. It's not. You can spend all the money you want trying to fix up buildings downtown, but they're failing to realize the one problem they have down there. They have nobody to spend money. Nobody down there has money. You don't think if they had people that would want to spend money down there, that these owners of the buildings wouldn't put them up to code? You don't think if they knew they were going to have thriving businesses in those locations and they could get rent, that they wouldn't fix those buildings up? The main issue with downtown still exists. Always will exist as long as it's set up the way it is. There is no one that is able to spend money down there. You have too much public housing down there. You have too much public housing down there that they lack the financial ability to support local businesses that are going to go in these locations. And while you're hamstringing the police department and you're calling them all sorts of names and telling them they're racist and that they're brutal to the people and they're oppressive, no one's going to feel safe down there. You put those two things together, and it is a recipe for disaster. There are plenty of community centers for the kids. Whether it's the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, Beat the Street, and there's plenty more. They could use that money. That would be something great to use that money for, to help some of those organizations out that do some amazing things for the kids. But again, it doesn't fix the main problem of what we have going on in Meriden. So if you're going to take that money, I would say focus it on the west side and on the east side, and slowly work your way downtown. The east side has been booming with commercial buildings. And in fact, there's another complex that's going to be going up again down near the old Dan B. Curry location, the old gas station. So there's things that we could do, but to sit there and say, like what Rhodey wants to do, just throw all the money downtown and hope for the best. No, that's not what we do. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be sitting there giving 80% tax abatements to developers who are already getting federal and state low interest loans and grants. We're gonna give them more money? Ridiculous. It needs to be done in a strategic way. But again, as far as downtown, you can't do anything down there until you address your main issue that you have there. And until you do that, downtown, unfortunately, is a lost cause at this moment in time. But what you can do is start on the outskirts and work your way slowly downtown. If you could build it from the outside in instead of the inside out, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity. In fact, it's the only opportunity you have. It is the only opportunity you have. Thriving businesses and creeping your way downtown. That's how you fix some of the issues in the city. But again, by telling people, though, that we have racism problems in the city, I don't see how that helps anything. I don't think that helps in any way. And unfortunately for the majority on our council, that is their number one agenda. Their number one agenda is not how to revitalize the city. Their agenda is, and if you look at everything they're putting forward, is all about dividing based on race, and that's it. That is their agenda. And unfortunately, they have enough idiots on the city council to try to do that. They do. It's unfortunate that that's the time. This is the council we have. But again, I don't blame them. I blame everybody else who voted for them. Elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. And we're seeing them. We're seeing them. We're seeing them play out. But like I said, the question is now, what do we do about it? What do we as a collective do about it? Run. Run. Now, racism isn't an issue in every town. Do racist people exist on all sides? Absolutely. To anyone to deny that is just blind and ignorant. But to say it's running rampant, no, that's not the case. In fact, like I said, there's nothing that proves that. Well, I wouldn't call that racism based on financial success. Yeah, I mean, do people do things based on? But again, depending on what you're talking about. If you're looking at businesses, yes. Yes, businesses, of course, are going to judge people based on their financial success. And that just downtown was we just talked about it. A business isn't going to come downtown if you don't have the financial ability to support them. That's just a fact. That's not racism. That's just business. That's just pure basic economics. I'm not going to spend $100,000 if I can't make that back and then some. That's just not going to happen. That would just be stupidity on your part. If I didn't think I could sell oil, gas, and diesel, would I go and spend $600,000-$700,000 to start something? If I didn't know I was going to make it back? No, it'd be ludicrous. So I don't think that's racism. That's just business. Everybody has their biases, sure. If you want to look at it from a perfect thing. But we don't have these issues as a majority. Not even as a majority. We don't have them running rampant. I wouldn't even say within 3%. But what we do have the ability to do is bring each other together and not let them try to divide us. They're trying to divide us. And they only succeed if we allow them to. I love everybody. I don't care what color you are, what ethnicity you are. I don't care. Are you a good person? If you are, let's do this. Let's join forces. If you're a thug, you're a criminal, you're a gang member, we're not going to get along. And I'm not going to sit there and say, it's not your fault, you're a victim. No. You made the choice to do this. You have a choice and the opportunity to get out of that lifestyle. If you want to get out of that lifestyle, you can. And we would be willing to help you. Life is made of choices. And you are responsible for the choices you make. And you are responsible for the consequences that come from those choices. Now, do people make the correct ones all the time? No, nobody's perfect. That's what's so great about this country. We give second chances. But you got to be willing to put your hand up and say, hey, I screwed up. Can you guys help me make things better? I don't know a soul that would turn around and say no. And if they do say no, they are the problem, not you. But personal responsibility, that is what has lost this country. Nobody is held to be responsible for their own actions. Absolutely. Choose to help. I'm here to help. I'm here to help anybody who's willing to make a change. If you choose you don't want that change and you rather do criminal activities, you're going to get no sympathy from me, and I will harshly go against you. We have an opportunity to make changes in the city. We have opportunities right now that I think we are slowly losing, but we don't have to. So again, I'm calling for those that are in power, that have the obligation to try to make this city a better place, to step up. This is not it. This is not how you help the city. This nonsense is the total opposite of how you help a city and its people. My suggestion of getting the police to overhaul community policing is a step in the right direction. I think my advice and my suggestion to start working on the outer districts of Meriden and working our way downtown is the correct approach. It makes sense. Now we need people to sit there and spread that. But it's 8 o'clock. I've had a very long day today. So we're going to end it there. I think we have wrapped this up for the police survey. If some of the committee members want to join us next week, they're more than welcome to. But we're going to start focusing more on the outskirts of Meriden, and we're going to start looking at some of the state stuff that's coming out. And, I do want to bring that up because I think Paul mentioned it earlier in the program about the whole Fauci thing. That is a prime example of how the government tries to mislead you and control you. They will say one thing in public and do something totally different in private. And Fauci turned around and was always saying, we got to wear our masks, we got to do this, we got to do that. And then in private is totally contradicting himself. Never let a crisis go to waste. Never try, always look to try to take more control of the people. If you have not read the leaked emails of Fauci, you must go and look them up and read them. It is everything that is wrong with the government. Everything that is wrong. And all those people that called us conspiracy theorists and that we were crazy, follow the science. The science didn't make any sense. Their reality didn't make any sense that they were trying to put out there. Their perception wasn't making any sense. And it all came out to be true. But we'll tackle that next week. So until next week, guys, as always, I love you. Thank you for being here. Without you guys, this is not possible. But we have a great show we're going to do on Sunday. So, like I said, love each other. Be safe. Take care of each other. God bless you, and God bless this amazing country of ours, because we are the only last place for freedom. Love you. God bless you, and God bless America.